Now, more of Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Policy Institute, the only show directly addressing the problems and solutions for Illinois. Now, from AM 560, here's Dan Proft.
Dan Proft back with Pat Hughes, co-founder of the Illinois Opportunity Project, and this edition of Illinois Rising. And Pat, this past week, Mike Madigan turned 75 years old, and the Illinois Republican Party was quick to celebrate his birthday so they could point out that he has been in public office for 46 of his 75 years on the planet, and, of course, the longest-serving House Speaker at the state level in the history of our country and the most powerful politician in the state for many moons. It's interesting how Sarah Silverman and the left are not so interested in Mike Madigan's tax returns as the most powerful politician in the state as they are Donald Trump's. But the approach of tying all of the Democrat candidates, an ever-growing field of Democrat candidates for governor, J.B. Pritzker, Spalding, Chris Kennedy, Diamond Joe Quimby, as well as Daniel Biss, Maya Pawar, maybe Kurt Summers, the Chicago City treasurer, tying them to Mike Madigan. And this week, that's what the Republican Party, the state Republican Party did, talking about J.B. Pritzker signaling again he supports Madigan's borrow and spend and tax agenda. It's clear Pritzker will do everything he can to help Mike Madigan and raise taxes without reforms, and the same goes for Biss. Your reaction to that messaging approach?
So it's campaigning by proxy, which never really works, and it's the wrong proxy, right? On Biss, it works a little bit, even though he's in the Senate instead of the House, but at least he's in Springfield. Pritzker is not in Springfield, so he's going to distance himself from that combination. But the reality of it is, even if they were combined, it's just like those congressional numbers, Dan. You know, Congress always has very low approval numbers, and it was a Republican Congress. Did that stop Trump from winning the presidency? No, because people look at the two people that are campaigning against each other. Mike Madigan isn't on the ballot, and the Pritzker and Kennedy are going to distance themselves from him. I think that they've taken this strategy as far as they can. I think it works better at the state legislative level, but at the governor's level, I don't think it works at all.
Yeah, I think the messaging in terms of going after Biss and Pritzker, a.k.a. Spalding, I need to come up with a nickname for Biss. He's such a little Poindexter.
That's a good one.
But he's not a smart one, so it does the Poindexter thing doesn't really fit.
So you need some qualifier at the front of Poindexter.
I have to noodle on that.
Like faux Poindexter or something like that.
That
kind of thing.
It's not pithy.
I used faux because you use those kind of fancy French words. That's why.
It's true. I think we're suffering from a folie à deux.
That's what I'm saying. That's
right
why
now.
I mentioned. Right, exactly.
Shared psychosis.
I don't know what you're talking about, so you can keep going.
So anyway, but on Biss and Pritzker, the messaging, the attack that this party lodged, saying and raising attention to the fact that they both admitted to supporting an increase in income taxes this week on tax day, with tax day just passed, without any reforms. Just keep it going. And that is a untenable position. I think it's an untenable position for even reasonable Democrats. So it was good to highlight that. It also, this tax day reminds us that, as I kind of mentioned when we were talking to Ted Dabrowski, Illinois, according to a Wallet Hub study, the highest state and local tax burden in the country. And we already know we pay the highest property taxes in the nation. How high are our property taxes? Our property taxes here are higher than every state that doesn't have an income tax. I mean,
it's just incredible.
This is an incredible statistic.
And these guys are saying, look, the tying to, like, they will raise taxes. Now, obviously, what they're going to do is they're going to parse that out, right? They're going to say we're going to raise taxes, but it's only going to be on the people that we're not looking to vote for us, right? And then they're going to give some sort of fake tax break.
Well, but it was interesting because when Pritzker announced, he said, first we need to make the rich pay their fair share. First. That implies there's a second. And what's the second? Everybody else, middle-income families.
It's always that way. It's interesting that he's not smart enough to hide that, right? Obviously, you can't tax the top 1, 2, 3, 4% enough to do it, and plus they'll leave. We talk about this all the time. Go ahead, tax the crap out of them. They're going to leave if you do that. They can leave. Ultimately, that burden falls upon the everyday person. And property taxes, Dan, is the perfect example of that. We have the highest property tax in the nation. everyone pays those property taxes, whether you own a $10 million house or a $200,000 house, or if you're a renter, right? So they're getting you coming and going regardless of your income level.
I'm not surprised by Spalding's verbal missteps.
Spalding.
Because, I mean, he has been a house cat his entire life. Now he's out in the wild. He's going to make mistakes, and there'll be opportunities to seize on those mistakes. I agree with you about Madigan. Look, Governor Rauner is no more going to beat whoever the Democrat nominee is by running against Mike Madigan than the Democrat nominee is going to beat Governor Rauner by running against Donald Trump. This is a race where the two sides combined will spend, I believe, north of $200 million. This is going to be a choice in the minds of Illinois voters between the two men who are the nominees for their respective parties. Rauner for the Republicans and whoever the Democrats nominate. They're going to make a choice based on those two individuals.
If it's Pritzker, it's really 2.5 men, though, right?
Is that a fat joke?
It is.
Do you think you really have the standing to make a fat joke?
I don't. I think that's I'm projecting. Do you think maybe I'm projecting a little bit?
Yeah.
He's a big guy, though. You
like
got to admit. You got to admit
animal.
he's a big guy.
Yeah. Well, I think.
By the way, Rauner should not run away from Donald Trump because for that very reason. So he should deal with the president and signal to his base that he's not distancing himself from the leader of the free world to pick up some cheap votes on the North Shore that won't be enough to carry the day, particularly under the analysis you just laid out of the Trump-Madigan proxy.